What's going on, everyone? Is the Derv, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys how you can pair Choir of One and Mint Retrograde together in a build that features unlimited volatile rounds, unraveling everything on the battlefield, 1-minute supers, and of course printing Transcendence and unlimited orbs of power. So if you've been looking for a way to incorporate two of the best weapons in the game together while being ammo conscious and not running out, this is the build for you. You will be an absolute menace on the battlefield. So if you do find anything helpful in this video, please consider liking and subscribing. Please share it with a guardian in need who's been looking for a build like this. And if by chance you guys are looking for a non-toxic gaming community, feel free to hop in my Discord, and don't forget about the dim link in the video description. So without further delay, let's get it going. With our double special Swarmers build, we of course are going to go with Needlestorm. Needlestorm still one of the most satisfying yet chaotic supers to use, and it is going to be pivotal, and it will pair with multiple things that we're going to go over later in the build. For abilities, I prefer the Phoenix Dive, so you can quick dive to the ground and activate your Weaver's Call. I prefer the Burst Glide. You want to stack up your Arcane Needles because you're going to be generating a ton of them. And for the grenade, we are going to go with the Threadling Grenade. The goal of this build, on top of putting out huge damage numbers with our weapons, is creating as much chaos as possible. So having Threadling Grenades plus our Weaver's Call, which we're going to talk about here in a minute, and the weapons that we've got selected are going to ensure that there's going to be nothing but chaos on the screen. And I can tell you, personally myself, when your frame rate drops because you're causing so much action on the screen, you're going to know you're doing it right. For aspects, first up is Feed the Void. Defeat a target with any ability to activate Devour. Your Devour effects are improved, restoring additional health and grenade energy. Final Blows restore health, grant grenade energy, and extend Devour. Feed the Void is absolutely necessary because we don't technically have a way to regenerate our health when we are using a super such as Needlestorm. So Feed the Void, because we're going to be spamming our grenades and we also want to generate our health back, is going to be pivotal. Weaver's Call, here we go, let's talk about it. We got a change to talk about here as well. Activate your class ability to weave 3 Threadlings and deploy any Threadlings you have perched. Dealing damage and defeating targets generates perched Threadlings. That is new, in case you were not aware. Now when you deal damage and you defeat targets, you generate perched Threadlings. So typically speaking, if you are in a semi-busy activity, doesn't even have to be an extra busy activity like an Onslaught or what you saw in the intro video, which was the altar activity for Festival of the Lost. It doesn't matter. You're going to generate perched Threadlings, even if it's something slower moving, such as like a Legend or a Master Lost Sector. Don't know why you would want to farm Legend or Master Lost Sectors at this point in the game's life. But if you are running through an activity that is slow like that, comparatively to like an Altars or maybe an Expedition or possibly even a Raid, if that's, what you're playing, Weaver's Call is going to generate you perched Threadlings simply by using it. So take advantage. If you weren't aware of this added chaos that was recently buffed into Weaver's Call, it's time to equip it and go test it out for yourself. For Fragments, first up, Facet of Bravery. Defeating targets with grenade final blows grants volatile rounds to your void weapons. Defeating targets with powered melee final blows grants unraveling rounds to your strand weapons. This is going to be your #1 fragment for this build. We are going to be using a void special weapon for our main ad clear. So every time you get a kill with a Threadling, you will proc volatile in your void weapon, which means you can deal increased explosive purple damage. And if nothing else, it's going to add to the overall chaos on your screen. You're going to make it look purple and green all over. Next up is going to be Facet of Hope. While you have an elemental buff, your class ability regenerates more quickly. Pivotal, because we are going to double down on the regen of our class ability with our artifact. And on top of that, we're going to have additional perched Threadlings that we're going to want to get rid of pretty much anytime that we want. So yes, we need Facet of Hope. Next up is going to be Facet of Balance. Now this one I go back and forth on. Facet of Balance works because we are going to be rapidly defeating targets with light and darkness damage, generating grenade and melee energy. However, our artifact, once we get to that, you're going to see a way that you can generate additional melee energy and damage. So if you don't want Facet of Balance, the other option to put here is Facet of Mending. If you want additional ways to heal yourself, Facet of Mending is going to be needed. If you're getting into really high-end activities, which again, this is going to be a niche style play kind of, you're going to need Facet of Mending for additional ways to heal yourself. But you got to decide. Next up is Facet of Purpose. Picking up an orb of power is going to grant us Woven Mail. We'll pretty much always have Woven Mail around our Guardians with this build, so enjoy the reduced damage. Last but not least is going to be Facet of Awakening. Rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage or super final blows. Generates an elemental pickup of the matching damage type. The only reason we want this, well, I guess there's two technically. The first reason is it gives me personally a plus 10 to my health, which, as I'm sure you guys have already seen, is at a dismal low. However, on top of that, because we're going to be using swarmers, any and all tangles that we generate, any and all threadlinks, tangles, all that good stuff that we generate, along with void breaches, is going to give us back our abilities quicker and cause additional chaos. The void breaches, of course, are going to give us our class ability back quickly, and the tangles are going to obviously generate threadlinks. For stat distribution, you want to spec into weapons, grenade, and super, with the focus mainly being on grenade. You want your grenade to be at least, I say at least, a 120. At 120, you will generate basically 20-ish% more damage on your enemies from using your grenades. Remember, grenades scale with anything that causes threadlings. So all in all, any kind of threadlings that you're spawning scale with your grenades. So the higher the grenade stat, the more damage you're going to do. Ideally, and yes, I'm saying ideally, if I had my Guardian messed with the way that I wanted to in terms of stat distribution, I would have 25 in health, 25 in melee, and 25 in class. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Durf, I don't know about that. That seems kind of specific. Well, the specifics of this build are to cause as much chaos as possible. You want your grenade to be as high as possible. The easiest way to do that, of course, is to focus it as Grenadier armor. If you do that, all 5 pieces of armor at tier 5 are going to give you 150. Your super will be at 125, and your weapons will be at a cool 100, which means when you put on your armor mods, you can then deviate additional stats to wherever you want. So however you have your armor setup is going to affect kind of how the threadlinks scale in their damage. Again, that is a perfect scenario. As you can see here, I am neither perfect nor have the ideal scenario for what I'm talking about. But as you farm, different activities, as you're getting your class items, as you're getting your, whatever your goal is for Festival of the Lost and then beyond with a build like this, you can then implement armor depending on the rolls that you get. You don't have to worry about melee as much because you're going to be generating melee energy simply by one of your fragments. You also don't have to worry about your class because we're going to address that in our armor. So really the only 3 stats that you're going to need is going to be grenade, super, and weapons. Again, health is going to be regenerated because of our Devour. So again, not trying to talk down to anyone here, but those 3 stats that I just said at 25, there's ways that they're not technically going to be at 25. So when you're looking at this at face value and you're like, well, I don't know, anything below 30 seems kind of like a dump. Well, kind of, but we're not really going to be below 30. For weapons, first up, Mint Retrograde. Now, the key here with Mint Retrograde, you can put on a Mint Retrograde that has Envious on. If you have that, your ammo generation is going to soar above 50. To compensate for that, if you don't have one that's got Envious on it, make sure you put on abundant ammo. That does mean you have to take off your temporal blast or your temporal armaments, whatever it is. Trust me, it's worth it. It doesn't really matter. You want your ammo generation meter to go as high as possible. And with Mint Retrograde, again, if you don't have Envious in this slot, then you're going to have to make do and make a sacrifice, which is fine. You're not really missing out on any damage, to be honest. And if you have one that has Slice, or like I've got Bait and Switch, Slice works nice because we're going to be spamming our Weaver's Call, and we're going to basically be, severing everything. Spam your Weaver's Call, pull this out, drop a couple of shots, boom, everything is severed now. So, or infected with your strand. So it works out. For the energy slot, go ahead and put on Choir of One. Now, in this slot right here, destabilizing rounds, I have that equipped. You don't technically need that because of our Facet of Bravery. So you can swap this out if you want for Onslaught. Onslaught will work in this slot as well. When you're firing this weapon, do not use the hip fire version. If you do that, you will absolutely, just run out of ammo quicker than you can replenish it. You'll see our ammo generation is at 15. So being smart with how you're using this, splash damage, your Facet of Bravery is going to be key, especially in busy activities. You won't have a problem generating special ammo if you do it like that. Just make sure you're paying attention. In the heavy slot, go ahead and put on my favorite new rocket launcher. I guess technically it's not really new anymore. With your abundant ammo enhanced weapon mod, take a look. Your ammo generation is at 49, which is pretty darn good considering you're going to get 2 shots if you have bipod and auto-loading holster. Auto-loading holster is a must for this. I don't really care about blast radius, so velocity is going to be what I focus on next with this. And to have back-to-back shots if I really want to. Remember, we're going to be debuffing everything, so this thing is going to add to the chaos while also doing, burst DPS right away. So here we go. Let's talk about Swarmers. Destroying a tangle spawns a Threadling. Your Threadlings unravel targets that they damage. Nothing new here. Swarmers has been pivotal in a lot of Warlock builds since its inception back in the day. The only addition now is that we have a way to add additional damage because of our grenade scaling stat now, and because of the artifact for the season. Now, after the season's over and that goes away, which we're going to talk about once we get to the artifact, I'm sure there will be other ways that you could spam Swarmers. But for right now, take advantage, because if we don't have any Strand Love in the next artifact, for example, which is about, a month and some change away, give or take. Renegades is, I don't want to say right around the corner, but it's pretty much right around the corner once you think about it. Swarmers will still be, a Strand Lover's best friend, especially on Warlock. And quite honestly, there's nothing quite as satisfying to watch when you're building a Strand class. As far as the armor mods go ahead and spec into whatever general armor mod that you want. In the helmet, make sure you have a special ammo finder. You can make an argument for putting 2 of these on, but one of them 100% will do just fine. Put on Ashes to Assets, so that way every Threadling kill will get you bonus super energy. You will be able to spam your super every minute practically in a semi-busy to busy activity. And then you're going to have to put on a Void Siphon so that rapid Void Weapon Final Blows create your Orb of Power. For the gauntlets, make sure you put on Firepower all 3 times. You can make an argument that you can drop one of these and put on Fastball so you can chuck your Threadling grenade further. That way you can also beef up your minor class mod to a major one. But honestly, I think the way that this is set up will be just fine. For the chest armor, you're going to have to pick 1 resistance mod. You can put 2 resistance mods on, then you're really going to have to monitor how you're generating ammo. With this in place, you need roughly about, and again, we're not talking about anything else, roughly about 10 kills with your Choir of One before you can generate a special ammo brick. So, if you factor in everything else, those 10 kills really aren't going to be difficult to achieve. With your Threadlings getting plenty of kills, and your super getting kills, and your melee getting kills, and your Weaver's Call getting kills in general, you should be generating a special ammo brick in a busy activity. And again, I'm estimating here, roughly every 10 to 15 seconds, which doesn't seem like that long of a time, but if you aren't being conscious of how you're using your ammo for your Choir of One, you could find yourself in a sticky situation. Now, we have ways around that because we have the ammo generation mods on our 2-strand weapons. So, but you don't want to rely on those because you have 0 in the tank for your Choir of 1. 2 of these will do just fine, and for the festival, the lost activities, you really don't need to spec into many other damage resistances anyways. For whatever reason, when you get fire thrown at you, it just seems to kill you faster than pretty much everything else. For the legs, go ahead and put on Better Already if you want. Your health begins to regenerate immediately after picking up an Orb of Power. Also, with that, it will regenerate your health all the way up to a full bar so long as it's not interrupted. So this is going to be key. Also, make sure you put on an Absolution, reduce all your ability cooldowns each time you pick up an Orb of Power. And the Harmonic Scavenger, this is what I prefer to run so that I can get bonus ammo for my 2 damage weapons in Mint Retrograde and the rocket launcher. However, you can make an argument to put on the Void Scavenger mod. If you do that, every ammo brick that you pick up will give you a few for your Mint Retrograde, maybe 1 or 2 for your heavy, and a bunch more for your Choir of 1. So if you find yourself running out of ammo with your Choir of 1, put on the Void Scavenger here. For the class item, make sure you put on your class font. That's going to ensure that we are at a minimum. If you're at 35 like me, you pick up that first Orb of Power, it bumps it up to 55. That second Orb of Power, that third Orb of Power is going to push you over 70, which is going to be kind of the sweet spot of where you want to be for spamming your Weaver's Call. So make sure you're picking up your Orbs of Power. Also, because you're using your class ability so much, put on Reaper. So after your class ability is used up, you can get a free Orb of Power with your next final blow. And of course, reducing your grenade cooldown with Bomber is always useful. For the artifact in the first column, make sure you have an Antibarrier Scout and Pulse. You can put on Unstoppable Sidearm and Hand Cannon if you want, and you can put on Overload Rapid Fire. In the second column, make sure you have Tightly Woven and Threadlink Proliferation. In the third column, make sure you have Pack Tactics and Refresh Threads. In the fourth column, make sure you have on Elemental Days if you're going against champs. Make sure you have on Elemental Coalescence, and make sure you have on Energy Acceleration. In the fifth column, this one's going to be up to you, but I think these work best. Put on Elemental Overdrive and Tangled Web. These two just seem to work a little bit better because I'm not really spamming my melee. So Shield Crush is not going to really help me as much in this build. So being able to suspend targets with the strand debuff, and then of course the elemental pickups granting increased weapon damage really is going to help your rocket launcher and your Mint Retrograde. As far as the armor archetype goes, you're going to want to put on Last Discipline. While we won't be able to take advantage of the 2-piece terminal velocity, we will be able to take advantage of the 4-piece power loader with Last Discipline armor. When you pick up an Orb of Power, it will grant you 6% bar towards getting that special ammo brick. That's going to be important because you're going to be generating a ridiculous amount of Orbs of Power. So just picking up your Orbs of Power is already going to reduce the amount of kills you're going to need with your Choir 1. That's why I phrased it like I phrased it when we were talking about ammo conservation. If you don't have Last Discipline armor, ironically enough, this build will still work. However, that extra 6% really adds up when you factor in picking up, let's just say 5 Orbs of Power. Well, that's 30% of the whole bar and you haven't done anything yet. Maybe all you've done is use your abilities. Now let's talk about 10 Orbs of Power. Now let's talk about 15 Orbs of Power. I mean, 15 Orbs of Power, some of you are like, well, I don't know, Durf, it takes me a long time to generate 15 Orbs of Power. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't, because if you're cycling through your abilities, any kill you get with your abilities is going to end up creating that Orb of Power, minus your melee, of course. So all that's left is what? Using your Choir 1. So if you get maybe 10 kills with your Choir 1 and 10 Orbs of Power, which isn't that hard to do in a busier activity, you got yourself 2 ammo bricks and you've barely done anything. And I know, in your head, you're like, well, that's 20 kills. That's a lot of enemies. Kind of. But remember, everything is contributing to your ammo meter. So whether it's a Threadling kill or an Orb pickup or a Choir 1 kill, all of those things add to your ammo meter. So that is the build, kind of a niche style of play. Hopefully you guys like it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Let me know what changes you would make. And let me know, of course, how it works for you. With Festival of the Lost, this double special build, not something I typically tap into with my Guardian. I thought it was a nice change of pace, and quite honestly, I really do find a love for running around with a build like this. True, I don't have Envious on my Retrograde, so that is kind of a bummer, but you know, there are ways around it. Is this what I would run in an Ultimate Reclaim? No, probably not. I mean, I don't know. It's really hard to say. At an Ultimate Reclaim, you know, my power is going to be over 500. Things are going to be a little bit different as far as how much damage I do. This build probably will work. And quite honestly, there's videos out there of people going through ultimate activities with double special, and they do just fine. The last discipline armor is key here. And of course, making sure your ammo consciousness is heightened. So that way you're not running out at key moments. So anyways, if you did find anything helpful in this video, please consider liking and subscribing. If you know a Guardian out there who is looking for a way to incorporate double special into their Swarmers builds, feel free to share this video with them or send them my way. My goal is to help as many people as possible. As always, I will have a dim link in the video description. And if by chance you guys are looking for a non-toxic gaming community, I highly recommend hopping into my Discord. It is booming with active Guardians, both new lights and, you know, verified Sherpas. It is a great mix, and everyone is positive and willing to help each other. So I'm going to switch over to some more gameplay, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, so if you're wondering why my voice may or may not have sounded a little bit hoarse in that video, that is because I've been battling a bug for about a week. So I apologize if some of my words came out a little bit quieter or weirder sounding than normal. I just didn't want to just sit around and do nothing while I'm waiting for my voice to come back. I'm almost over it, but anyways, this build, you do have to be ammo conscious, yes, like I said. Last discipline armor helps you not have to worry as much, and also those ammo generation mods really do play a factor. We didn't even get a chance to really talk about the Transcendence aspect of this build. You'll be having Transcendence procced pretty much anytime that you want. It's kind of that in the back pocket type of play. So anyways, if you guys did find anything helpful in this video, please consider liking and subscribing, sharing what the Guardian need. My goal is to help as many people as possible. More builds like this are coming. Stay tuned. Thanks as always for your support. Take care.